Hi friends, it's Becky and I want to share with you the curated collections from Beads to Live By. It is a monthly bead subscription. It is paid quarterly though, so the next opening for signing up for these will be, oh, let's see, what was it, June, July, August, I don't know, I'll check it out. I'll put the link in the description below anyway so that you can get more information about it. But while the actual subscription may not be available to sign up for yet, you may see some of the beads that I'm unboxing, and they may be available if there are extras at Beads to Live By. So if you see like some of the 2-hole beads or some of the seed beads that I'm opening up and playing around with, and you'd like to have some, you can certainly purchase them from Beads to Live By. And very often there will be extras of the add-on bundles. There is a Czech glass add-on bundle that was available to add to this. It is, again, a monthly bead subscription where you get a selection of 8 different seed bead selections with 4 different sizes, and you also get 5 different selections of 2-hole beads if you select the seed bead and 2-hole bead subscription. So I'm gonna move my hand so you can see what the colors are this month. If you are not ready to be spoilered, if you've already signed up and you're waiting for yours to get here, then go ahead and hit save for later on this video. But if you want to see what's in here, then just keep watching. Ta-da! And these are the beads for July 2025. I opened the box and I thought, oh, Christmas in July. Because you have some greens and yellows. They're not strictly Christmas colors though, because you do have some like lime greens rather than dark greens. And you've got some pinky reds, and you've got some marigold colored yellows. So it's kind of a fun palette for you to be able to play around with. But as I said, you get 8 selections of seed beads, and these are the seed beads that we've got. You also get 5 selections of 2-hole beads. And we'll get into those in more detail in just a little bit. And then there is the add-on bundle. It is a separate purchase, but subscribers can get their shipping for this bundle free. And this is just a selection of the Czech glass bundles. There were a couple of press glass bead shapes, and then some fire polish bead shapes that were available for this. And this really cool button. I am loving this frog button. It is a Czech glass button, and if I can get it open, it is huge. Honestly, worth the price of the add-on bundle to get this little guy. It is a fully glass button, so there is no metal shank, and it is just a beautiful froggy guy. I am loving him so far. So let's get into the beads and see what we've got with that. Also, if you stick around to the end of this unboxing, I'll be picking out some of these beads and showing you a pretty easy right angle weave beaded bead that we'll be able to make today after the unboxing. So let's get in and take a look at these first. I've got them all put out in my palette. And I'm just going to scooch in a little bit closer so you can get a better look at these beads. As I said before, there are 4 different sizes of seed beads, and these are the largest size right here. These are the 6-0 seed beads, and it looks like we've got some opaque cherry red 6-0 seed beads, some opaque lime green. They kind of look like actually sour apple color to me, and that's actually the vibe that I'm getting with these two together is apples. Then we've got some opaque marigold yellow color. These are very pretty, but this is a smaller seed bead. These are 8-0 size seed beads, and the second 8-0 size seed bead that we get here is a matte, kind of a raspberry pink color with a, I'm not sure if that's a vitriol finish or if it's just an AB finish, but it gives you that multicolor sheen on that. The next 2 are also matte finish beads, but they are our 11-0 seed beads. We've got these darker yellow, kind of amber color, matte finish 11-0 seed beads, and some bright green, almost lime green, matte 11-0s. And then we've got some 15s, and all of the beads except for the 15s come in 10-gram bags. The 15s come in 2.5-inch tubes. And these are some silver-lined crystal 15 seed beads. They're very tiny. And then we've got some dark green with an AB finish 15 seed beads. So we've got all of these seed beads. Let's take a look at our 2-hole beads. We have some 2-hole check glass dagger beads. They've got 2 holes on the sides, and these ones have the etched finish. I don't know if it's acid etched or something like that, but it also has this really great peacocky color on it. So you get some yellows and some greens and a little bit of some pinks when the light hits it right for those. And then we've got some silky beads. These are like tile beads, but instead of the holes going parallel to 2 of the sides, the holes go kitty corner, like so that it sits diamond shape on that. With these, there are 2 different types of silky beads. These are flat on both sides. Some silky beads have a bump on that in the middle of it. They are one of my favorite 2-hole beads. I really like being able to make designs with these. And then these are Czech tile beads. They are square beads with holes that run parallel to 2 of the sides. And we've got this metallic-y red color. And then we've got these dark, almost emerald green 2-hole bar beads. And they've got the sort of rounded edges, but they are bar shaped. And these are some of our 2-hole beads. And then some additional 2-hole beads are some 2-hole triangle beads. These are our guitar pick shape with 2 holes along the base of one of the sides. There we go. Like that. Let's get these guys in here. So that is our 2-hole beads, and that's the subscription. And like I said before, there are these additional options that you have with some shaped glass, like these semi-opaque etched matte finish drop beads in white. And then you've got some long fire polish beads in a brilliant peridot green color. Some 5mm fire polish beads in this golden amber color. That guy right there. Some 3mm fire polish beads in a matte cherry red. Let's put you here. And some crystal 6mm fire polish beads. There we go. So these are just some of the beads that came in this subscription. All right, so if you want to see us do a little bead design, bead weaving design, I'm going to pick up some of these red beads over here in the corner. Get those out of here. These are the 6-0 seed beads. I was going to pick up some of these 8-0 seed beads, and I'm going to pick up these ones here. I will be putting these away in their baggies later after I am done with these. And I think I need some, yeah, let's go ahead and grab some, just a few of these 11-0s. And definitely some of these 15-0s. All right. So now that I've got these beads picked out, let me move these ones out of the way so that we are not jostling them or making them spill or going anywhere weird with them. so where we're at with this, I've got 4 different sizes of seed beads, and I don't know if you guys have ever done cubic right angle weave or not, but that is what I'm going to be using to make my beaded bead. And then we'll go back through and do a little bit of embellishment with it to strengthen it. Let me grab a needle. Just got a English style beading needle here. I believe this one is a size 11. Not quite sure. But let me grab also some beading thread. I've got some 8-pound beading thread here in black. I'm going to use black so you guys can see the thread better. It may end up looking better with a lighter colored thread, but I'm okay with it being visible for this tutorial. Again, so that it's better able to be seen by y'all. And I'm choosing 8-pound because this is going to be kind of a structural sort of design. It doesn't need to have a lot of drape, and I would like it to hold its shape. So I'm just going to do this little trick where you flatten out the end of your beading thread a little bit with some pliers. I first saw Danielle Wicks do that. And then you hold the thread pretty close in your fingers, and then you needle the thread by pressing the needle down onto that flattened piece of thread. I'll pull it through. All right, there we go. Now I'm going to start with the biggest beads for this. I've got about a wingspan's worth of this, by the way. So for the biggest beads, I'm going to pick up first 4 of these 6/0 seed beads, and the reason they call it a right angle weave is because when you put all of these like multiples of 4 into a circle, so I'm just going to go through all of those once more. I've got the thread in my fingers here to hold it, and it's going to make a little circle. I'm going to go through this first one just one more time so that I can pull this tight and have it make sort of a cross shape. So that is one right angle weave unit, because it's a right angle from this one and a right angle from this one and a right angle from this one, and it makes a box shape. So that is my first right angle weave unit. And now I'm going to add 3 more, because each right angle weave unit shares a bead with the right angle weave unit next to it. So I've got these 3, and I'm coming up out of this bead. I'm going to go through that bead one more time. And I'm going to go through all of these one more time as well. It's just going to give this a little more stability, especially since these 6/0 seed beads have fairly large holes. They're going to be really, really wobbly until we come back through and do our reinforcing, and our reinforcing isn't going to be until the end of this. But I just wanted to give this a little more structure right off the bat to start out with. So this was the original 4-unit right angle weave unit, and when we count this one that it shares, these next 4 is the next right angle weave unit. So that's basically right angle weave. If you haven't done it before, this is what it is. I'm going to do 2 more right angle weave units. So for 1 more of these, I need 3 more 6/0 seed beads. And I'm going to go back through that same bead that I'm coming out of, but on the opposite side. And then go through all of these beads one more time in a circle, the ones that I just added. 1, 2, 3. And then I want to move my needle to the other side of this right angle weave unit so that I'm coming out of this bead on the end. So we'll go up the side and out of that top bead. Now I need to add one more right angle weave unit, but this one is going to be turning this into a circle. So I'm going to want this to be one of my beads in a right angle weave unit, and I want this one to be one of the beads in my right angle weave unit. So I need just 2 more beads to fill in those gaps. And if it helps to form it around something, no, that's too thick. Let's grab this. In order for it to make sense when you're doing this, this is the one that I'm coming out of. I'm going to want to go into this one, but first I'm going to pick up a bead to bridge over that part of it so that I've got my 2 sides on my right angle weave unit here. Let's turn that over so that it doesn't get caught on the end. And then I'm going to add one more and go back through this one here. And that makes that last right angle weave unit. So now that I've got this closed up in a circle, I'm just going to go through this one more time. Because I went through all of the others twice, I like this to be just as solid. Sometimes you can get the needle to go through more than one at a time if you want. Okay, so now we've got all of these 4 right angle weave units around the end, and you've got these 6/0s popping up out of the top. I'm going to want to make sure that one of these has my thread coming out of it, so that I'm coming up out of that one right there. And I'm going to make another right angle weave unit on here. So this is going to be the bead that I already have in the right angle weave unit, so I need to add 3 more. But I'm going to use the 8/0 seed beads that I pulled out for this next right angle weave unit. So I'm coming out of this side of the bead, I'm going to go into the other side of that same bead to make a little circle. And go around, and there's a little split on that that's going to get in the way. Now you notice how there's some space between all of these beads, and they're a little bit wonky and weird. That's totally okay, because we are going to come back in with those 15/0s and do a little bit of embellishment that also adds more structure and solidifies these. So you notice I'm going through all 4 of these beads one more time. You don't have to do this, but I prefer it. All right. And now what I want to do is be coming out of one of these side beads in this unit right here. So that has 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm coming out of this side bead here. And I'm going to make another right angle weave unit with this, and 2 more of those 8/0 seed beads. So you pick up those 2 8/0 seed beads, and I'm going to jump over here to the other side of this 6/0. And then go up through that 8/0 that I was just coming out of, that was attached to that first right angle weave unit that includes 8/0s. And then let's go back through all of these guys again. And after I come around here, let's see, just pulling on this tail thread to tighten that up because it seemed like it was getting a little too loose. All right, so I'm coming out of this side 8-0, coming down, and since I'm coming down instead of coming up, I'm going to go ahead and skip over here to that next 6-0. And then pick up 2 more 8-0 seed beads and go through that side 8-0 and that bottom 6-0. And go through these 2 one more time. Actually, all 3 of them, all 4 of them if I can. Get that 6-0 again. Then turn this. I have 1 more right here that I need to go through. So I'm going to go through that same side 8-0 next to it. And since I'm coming out away from the work instead of towards the work, I'm going to need to bridge the gap here with another 8-0. And I'm only doing 1 8-0 because I'm going to be using this one over here on this side as part of the next right angle weave unit. So using a smaller seed bead makes it so that the instead of being a tube, it's going to be more like an oval shape for this beaded bead. All right, so then I go back through that 6-0 down there, and back through all of these guys one more time. Sorry, I just poked my finger with my needle. It's fine. I'm fine. I'm not even bleeding. It's totally fine. It was just a big surprise. That's all. All right. So now that I've got that going up here, I want to make sure that I'm coming out of one of these beads up here along the top. And I'm just going to close up the hole a little bit because while I could leave a larger hole for stringing on like leather or something like that, I'd like it to be fairly small for being able to fit on just some beading thread. So I'm going to pick up an 11-0, and it's just one 11-0, and I'm going to go through this next 8-0 right along the edge here. And then I'm going to pick up an 11-0 and go through this next 8-0 there. And I'm just going to add those 11-0s in between all of these 4 8-0s along this edge. Right. There we go. Now, I'm going to want to move my thread down here to the other side so that I can build another set of right angle weave units over here using the rest of these 8-0s. So I'm going to travel my thread path through those 2, through these 2, and then through this one, kind of zigzagging my way through here until I'm coming out on this side. I'm going to do the exact same thing I did before, where I added more right angle weave units. Stick this guy back on my, very good, I think that end is going to be a little bit better. The other one I was catching. All right, so I'm sticking it back on my toothpick to make it easier for me to see which ones are the sticky outy ones and where I'm going around, because it can be very confusing when you're not sure where they go. So I'm coming out of this 6/0 on this side. I picked up 3 8/0s. I'm going to go through that same 6/0 but on the other side to make that right angle weave unit. Make sure I'm not catching on the end of my thing. Let's go through all 4 of those beads again. And then I'm going to want to come out of this side bead and add 2 more 8/0s to make that next right angle weave unit. And let's go back through all of those guys. And then I'm coming out of this side 8/0. I call it side because, you know, top, bottom, side. Top, bottom, side, side. Let's make sure that you guys can see before I start pointing to things. All right, so I'm coming out of the bottom of that one, so I'm going to go ahead and skip over here to this next 6/0. Add 2 more 8/0s back through the top. And go through this 6/0 again. All right, and then this one, it's got 1, 2, 3 of the seed beads that it needs to form that unit. We just need to add 1 more. So I'm coming out of this side seed bead. I need to go into this side seed bead, but before I can do that, I need to add 1 more 8/0, and I can go down into that side seed bead, down through that bottom 6/0, and then back through all 4 of those beads 1 more time. All right, I'm going to move this guy out of the way, and I'm going to maneuver my thread so that I'm coming up out of one of these 4 beads up here along the top. And just like the other side, I'm going to add an 11/0 between each of those 4 beads. So pick one up, go through the next 11/0, or 8/0, pick up an 11/0, go through the next 8/0, pick up an 11/0, go through the next 8/0, and last one. There we go. So now it is nice and hollow. It is still rather squishy though, so let's go strengthen this up a little bit by adding some 15/0 embellishment along the middle here. So I'm going to take my thread and follow my thread path through here until I am coming out of one of the, if I'm holding it top to bottom like this, either one of the top or the bottom of these 6/0s. There we go. coming out of this one. I'm coming out of the right side of this 6-0. I'm going to pick up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is it 6? Is that how many will work there? Let's do 7. I want an odd number. I'm just crossing it over to see if that would fit well. So I've got 6 15-ohs. Again, I'm coming out of the right side of this top 6-0. I'm going to crisscross across this right angle unit and go through the left side of the bottom 6-0 here, like that. And then I'm going to go up through this next 6-0 and up through this next one. I'm going to do the crisscross first, or the criss first, and then we'll go back and do the cross next. So I want 7 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and by these I mean the 15-oh seed beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm coming again out of this right side. I'm going to go into the left side of the one opposite it on that unit. So it crosses it over. Go up through the side 6-0 next to it, and then through that top 6-0 over here. I'm just going to move that tail thread out of the way, keeping the tail thread active so that I can tie this off when I'm finished later. All right, same thing, 7 of these 15-oh seed beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and cross over 2. Go through the opposite side, the next seed bead down, and up through the next 6-0, and across through this top 6-0 here. And 7 15-ohs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? And now we're going to go back the way we came by adding a few more 15-ohs. I'm going to pick up 3 15-ohs, 1, 2, 3, on my needle. So I'm coming out of the right side of this bottom 6-0 down here. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. On the 4th 15-oh on this strand here, it's right in front of me. I'm going to go through that one, going from bottom to top. And then add 3 more 11-ohs. 1, 2, 3. And go through that 6-oh along the top from left to right. And then I'm going to press that X with my finger and give my thread a little bit of a tug to help tighten that. Right, now we go down the next 6-oh through this bottom 6-oh over here. Do the exact same thing. Pick up 3 15-ohs, 1, 2, 3, and go through the 4th from the bottom 15-ohs. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Pick up 3 more 15-ohs. 1, 2, 3. go through that top 6-0. Give it a little tighten. Like that. So you can still see our pretty red beads, but our white beads are right there, giving us a little bit of an embellishment on that. All right, down through this 6-0 next to it. And then through this one down here on the bottom. We are almost done, my friends, don't worry. Just making a little beaded bead. And then we can use this in a design with some of the other beads. You know, do some stringing or something like that. 1, 2, 3. We're going to count here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 3 more. 1, 2, 3. Go through that top 6-0. And I'm just rolling this a little bit. It's going to help these beads settle into place. Back down through this next 6-0. Through this 6-0 down here at the bottom. One, 2, 3. Let's go ahead and count. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that 4th one, that's where we're going to go through. One, 2, 3. Through this 6-0 here. And then I'm going to maneuver this thread so that it is coming out of one of these beads. But first I want to make sure that this doesn't kink up. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to go through all of these 6-0s right here. 1, 2, 3, and I've used all 4 of the bead sizes for this beaded bead. You can do this. I'm doing it with the Curated Collections for this month, but you could do this with any of the Curated Collections for any of those months because you get all 4 sizes in it. So let's go ahead and tie this off. I'm going to go right over left. And then left over right, and on this left over right, I'm going to go through the loop twice. 1, 2, that's a surgeon's knot, tie tight. And I'm going to go grab my thread burner. There we go. I could make a few more of these and include them in a beaded design. I could have this be a focal, say in a bracelet design with some of these other beads along with it, maybe these. In fact, let's go ahead and zoom out a little bit, and let's go ahead and make that. Let's go ahead and do that bracelet design real quick. Super quick. We're just going to have this be a focal bead. And we're going to add a few of these along here. Let's use some white beading wire. And a crimper with some crimp tubes. Where are my crimps? I think I know where they are. We've also got some of these. And I'll get a jump ring and lobster clasp as well. And we'll just go ahead and make a whole bracelet. Just right here. All right, so I've got my beading wire, I've got my 2x2 crimps. I like to use a magical crimper, and it's my favorite way of crimping. And I'm gonna go ahead and leave some of these on here so I can add them into the beading design. I need a pair of snips. There we go. Right, I'm going to work from the middle out because I'm not sure what I want the order of these to be in. But I'm going to go ahead and stick one of these 6/0s right up against it. Bloop, right there. Yeah, I think that's going to work great. And then one of these matte drops. I'm going to point the pointy end towards the middle and have that fat bottom towards the back because fat bottom beads make the beading world go round, right? And another of the 6/0s. And then let's grab one of these golden amber colored fire polish beads, one of the matte 3mm fire polish beads, and one of these golden guys, like that. And then let's go for 6/0 fat bottom bead and 6/0. And then another one of these. You know, actually, I think I'm going to substitute out this matte fire polish bead in this design with one of these 8/0s. I just think it's going to fit better with the colors on that design. And actually, let's do 3 of these guys to give us a little more length and really call out this color a little bit more. So 3 of those, and then this ambery gold color, like that. Now we can do 6/0 fat bottom bead. I'm going to call these fat bottom beads, friends. That's what they are. All right, and then we've got a couple more of these golden color beads. 1, 2, 3. one more of these. And I'm just going to check on a wrist and see how far that's got me. That's awkward. That's the middle and that's coming around the end. Don't know that we're going to have a lot of room for the other one, so let's go ahead and start stringing the other side. And then we can add more as we go. So if I've got the other side ready to go, pop a little bead stopper on here. Sorry, I'm just designing on the fly, my friends. I didn't have an intention to make an entire bracelet tonight. I was just going to be doing that beaded bead tonight. All right. So 6/0, fat bottom bead, 6/0, fire polish, 3/8, one. There's a little bit sticky on the end of this wire because it was adhered to the spool here, so I'm just trying to move that the goop out of the way. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. And now we're back to 6/0 fat bottoms and a 6/0. And then fire polish, 1, 2, 3, and fire polish. All right. Let's check our size. We can't do an entire other repeat of this, so let's just do another repeat of the 3/8 and another fire polish bead. Like that on that end, and let's do the same thing on the other end. All right, and this bead stopper just keeps the beads from rolling off while I'm flinging it around madly. So we were going to be adding another 1, 2, 3. And fire polish. And this should make it easy for me to adjust the length too, because if I still need to add more, I can just add a couple more of the 15 or the 11/0s. So thinking another 3 of the 11/0s on each end. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And let's just move this guy out of the way. There we go. All right, that's going to be perfect because there's enough room there for clasps and crimps and things like that. So let me move these beads out of the way. Whoop. Ah, where are you going, buddy? Fun, fun, fun. All right, let's get one end crimped. I'm just going to do a loop here, and then we're going to grab some jump rings and clasp for the actual clasp. I've got a 2x2 crimp tube. It works best with the magical crimper, which is again my favorite way of crimping. Other styles of crimping will work. If you do another style of crimping, you might want to also use a crimp cover. I find that with the magical crimper, I don't need them because, and you'll see, it's going to turn this little cylinder into a ball when I crimp it. So what you want to do is get that crimp centered into this little concavity you can see in there. Once it's centered, give it a single smush and it presses down the corners. Makes it into kind of a pillow or ravioli shape. And then if you turn it at a right angle, make sure it is centered. And then turn it at different angles and just go around. Again, making sure it's centered. Make sure that it's open when you are twisting it around, not closed. And then just give it little smushes all the way around. It smooths out those rough edges and turns it again into a nice smooth little ball of crimp. So let me snip my excess wire there. Got my loop on that end. And I'm going to do a loop on this end too with my crimp. This also works best with like thick-walled crimps. Very thin-walled brass crimps do not work as well as thick solid crimps. You can see how thick the wall on that is. Maybe. Less expensive crimps will absolutely break when you do use the magical crimper. I'm just curling this so that it has a little bit of slack. And I also want to make sure that there's a little bit of space between my crimp and the bead next to it, so that when I get my crimper centered, it isn't going to crush this seed bead. There is enough room to center it on the crimper, or on the crimp. There we go. And I think I want a jump ring. A second jump ring. That is a 6mm. This is a 5mm. I'm going to use the 6mm as my connection point and the 5mm to hold my lobster clasp onto this. And here's the lobster clasp. All right, to open and close this, I'm going to use some chain nose pliers. And to hold the other side, I'm just going to use the flat bit on these crimpers just to hold the side of that jump ring while I twist with my chain nose pliers to get that open and closed. Alright, so let's get this open. I am going to be joining Cassandra on the 30th of July. That's a Wednesday night. I'm going to be going live on the Beads to Live By YouTube channel. So if you want to see more fun shenanigans with the Beads to Live By curated collections for this month, join us then. I will absolutely have a totally different project to share with you then. And until then, have fun making these beaded beads. There we go. Simples. And once more, I will have a link in the description to the Curated Collections at the Beads to Live By website. She has more collections than that, but if you wanted any of these beads that you saw, you may check there to see if there are any extras available. And you do not have to be a subscriber to get the companion bundle. You can purchase that anytime that you want from Beads to Live By, as long as it's available. All right, until next time, my friends, happy beading.